The following is an original production of HCC-TV, Howard Community College Television.
It's time to go someplace where you've never gone before, or taste a dish you've never tasted, when chefs can push the envelope and diners can get a great deal. It's Restaurant Weeks, next on Table to Table. Hello, and welcome to Table to Table. I'm Vinny Reggae, Chair of the Center for Hospitality and Culinary Studies at Howard Community College, which now is only one of the 16 programs across the country with American Culinary Federation and hospitality accreditations. On each episode of Table to Table, we usually take you inside one of the most popular restaurants in the community. But this time, we are getting a taste of several different eateries as we explore Howard County Restaurant Weeks. Restaurant Weeks give diners the chance to try a place that they have never tried before or get a great deal at one of their favorite restaurants. But these weeks are also a good deal for restaurant owners who want to attract new customers or try out new menu items. Later in our show, we'll be joined in the HCC kitchen by Chef Dan Wecker of the Elkridge Furnace Inn, who will show us how to create one of this restaurant's signature dishes. But first, let's open the menu on Restaurant Weeks.
I've been involved in Restaurant Weeks as long as they've had it.
It's a perfect platform for you to get exposure.
So I think they get good value for and a pretty good meal.
Howard County Tourism has been doing Restaurant Weeks for over 5 years, and we decided to do our Restaurant Weeks with a theme. Because there's so many Restaurant Weeks going on in different communities, we wanted ours to stand out. We did it for 1 week, and then it was so popular that they extended it, and then we just said, let's just go with 2 weeks moving forward. We really appreciate that it's really the family-owned restaurants that participate. So we really are celebrating locally owned businesses who are also working with other locally owned businesses. So we may not have 100 restaurants participating, but the 20 to 30 so restaurants that do participate fully and are very appreciative of being a part of Restaurant Weeks.
It's very important for us that we work together as a community of independent restaurants in the area here to succeed. We're not backed by corporate headquarters anywhere, and I happen to know most of the other independent restaurateurs in Howard County, and they're not backed by any corporate thing either. We support each other, we encourage each other.
Tourism will,
Every other month there's a restaurant and affiliates meeting. So anyone who has an interest in meeting with restaurants, who have services they can help restaurants with, get together and brainstorm, give feedback to us, and help plan this. There is a participation fee for the restaurants, and we more than match that with advertising. So there is a television campaign, an online campaign, social media campaign, and a print campaign in both Baltimore and Washington markets just to get diners to their front doors and in those seats. It was just so popular. The Restaurant Weeks also said anytime that if we could give them a little bit of help, they said the average increase of business was 42% over weeks that they weren't doing Restaurant Weeks, and could we do it again in a season where it was a little quiet for them. They looked at a series of weeks, and the end of January is when they decided when the restaurants are usually very quiet.
In most cities around the country, they have some form of restaurant week. It gives an opportunity, it's a perfect platform for chefs to show their wares. It's a free-course meal, and the price point is perfect for those who want to try out a new restaurant, and it made sense.
They've seen new customers, they've had customers come from far away, and during a time of year usually where it's pretty quiet in the restaurants, so it's a noticeable difference for them.
I think it's a great opportunity to go to restaurants that you had not been to before and taste different things at great prices.
It's a chance to try some good chef samplings of some entrees where I might order a little bit more than what I would normally eat because they offer a nice sampling of their typical menu.
For me, it's an opportunity to have somebody come and visit us very often for the first time, and for them to say, wow, this is what they do?
We decided to do it because obviously we knew we want to get established, and it was a perfect opportunity, and the timing was just perfect for us.
I'm wanting to showcase what we do. I'm looking for that competition so that people can look at my menu, compete against others, and I want them to say, wow, let's go to this one and try it.
We do the Howard Restaurant Weeks regularly. We haven't been here before, and we're going to be back.
I think it's fun to try new restaurants. I think it's fun to try 3 courses because you don't always do that when you go somewhere.
It kind of allows me as a chef to experiment out a little bit, have a little bit more fun with it.
It's not something that we do a lot, but certainly when they have it here at Kelsey's, we enjoy the new selections that they have.
Typically it's an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert, and we might not normally get an appetizer and a dessert, so we do that during restaurant week.
We have a pre-fee menu every day of the year that's the same price as the restaurant week's menu. So for them, it's an opportunity to get a different menu than my seasonal menu and my pre-fee menu. And so for them, it's just an opportunity to get a different mix of menu options.
I think the only thing that's doing that's different is that we added some typical cuts that we normally wouldn't have. We have a lamb T-bone, which historically we wouldn't use. We would primarily use a lamb chop or a lamb loin.
We have a pork belly Reuben with a sauerkraut and onion marmalade, a little bit of a Thousand Island or Russian dressing. Some people, just take something off their menu. We've never done that. Traditionally, we've always stuck with trying to do something that's special.
How are we on veg, please?
I'm always experimenting. I'm wanting to dance people through an array of courses and have them experience a whole variety of foods. I want to showcase what we do well.
My strategy is working with my staff, working with the kitchen staff, working with the floor staff to make sure that we can accommodate whoever wants to come in as much as possible and to give them the very best dining experience that we can.
Well, Maria and I have been dating for a few years, and I saw a listing for this restaurant, and I've always wanted to try it, and so Restaurant Week was the perfect opportunity.
The food was wonderful, the service was great, everything that we had this evening was lovely.
We work for our restaurants, and the feedback came to them that they wanted to do something maybe tied in a little bit with romance. And it was brainstormed with our friends over the Restaurant Association of Maryland with the expression Love Local for winter restaurant weeks this year. So that was a little bit of a departure and tried to make Howard County's sort of Valentine's Day season stretch out more than just that 1 week, but maybe into a month's worth of Valentine's Day.
The hope is that we're going to be slammed. We have a seafood appetizer tonight that has 4 different sauces. We make our own mayonnaise. It's a true aioli. We fold in fresh herbs, fresh dill. We take basil that I harvested from my garden in the fall before the cold snap, and we make pestos. We invest those into these sauces. Fruits that we got locally, we've turned into chutneys. And so they appear on these appetizer plates, and I want the guests to see a broad variety of what we do so well here. I want them to come out and taste that.
We have a salad among other things on the menu, but a salad in particular that we're featuring that are all greens and root vegetables that we're picking in the greenhouse on a daily basis. And if we have to, we come out with flashlights at night and get some more.
So we looked at what we have in our own backyard, and what we have is a series of working farms that are open to the public, and locally sourcing was something that we thought that we could really celebrate in our community. Hosted a series of meetings, introducing chefs to farmers, have them shake hands, make deals, make arrangements, and Farm to Table Restaurant Weeks was born. And it's one of our most popular promotions. Everybody loves to eat, and everybody loves to eat local. And meet the people in your own community that grow that food and raise that food for you.
With the summer, you have a little bit more fun because you get your hands on some, some more farm-to-table stuff. We have Harbin Farms. It's down the road from us, so we use a lot of their ingredients. It's local produce, and it's always good to use local stuff.
But summer, there's an abundance of so many different things, and things from butternut squash blossoms to we'll stuff those. I mean, we've got a lot of ideas we're just throwing around at this point.
And actually, when I plan my summer restaurant weeks menu, I plan on things that I'm going to grow. But we do use local farmers, and we're using our veal, and our pigs are coming from about 6 miles away. Chickens are coming from the top of the hill, as well as farm at Myrtle Woods Farm, where we get some of our other produce locally here.
I've worked closely with tourism to bring farmers to the table with restaurant weeks. We have more farms that are more restaurants and farms that are participating in the Farm to Table Restaurant Weeks. It's really been an eye-opener for the restaurants how much is grown here locally in Howard County and what they can get available to them and how willing the farms are to come to deliver.
The eating local and buying local has kind of grown together in the last 5 years or so. All these small boutique restaurants are looking for local customers, and being able to pull in the local produce and meats is just adding to the promotion of keeping the money local and staying local and buying local.
Farming's kind of sort of come back in vogue that way, especially the small family farm. And the restaurants are small family-owned businesses as well, so families helping families in our community. And to help Howard County families eat healthier, I think, is brilliant. When we first started doing it, we were really ahead of the curve, I think, for the whole farm-to-table movement. But I think people are just becoming very conscious about where their food's coming from and how they can eat in a way that's better for their bodies, but also kinder to Mother Nature and the planet. The restaurants are requested to actually list on the menus, the price-fixed menus, where they have locally sourced.
Some restaurants have even had farmers come in during the dinner hour and kind of walk around the restaurant and talk to the consumers about what they grow on their farm and how they grow it and why they grow it a certain way.
If they have something really delicious at the restaurant, it's in part to these talented chefs, but hopefully they're also realizing that they had that tasty tomato came from our farm, and they can come to our farm stand anytime and get that to have at their house.
Because my menu is always seasonal, I'm capturing the best and the freshest. I'm wanting to showcase what we do. I'm looking for that competition so that people can look at my menu, compete against others, and I want them to say, wow, let's go to this one and try it.
The official kickoff event for Restaurant Weeks is the Film Festival that happens in partnership with the Economic Development Authority and some other groups, and it's been hosted at Clark's Ellie Oak Farm. There was always a desire to have some sort of kickoff event for Restaurant Weeks, and we played with all sorts of ideas like a waiter's race and all sorts of things. But the other inspiration that came out was when the governor came out and said that he wanted to do the Buy Local Challenge. There's a farmer's market. There is tastings from the restaurants that are participating in Restaurant Weeks.
And that's been really fun to make that part of our farm as well. And it's helped get the word out there that Restaurant Week is beginning.
People are just passionate about not only the food where it comes from, and then just the food that they're enjoying. It's just an awareness about eating.
There can be some excitement about Restaurant Weeks because it is a designated, confined time frame, and people who want to come in and get the great deal of Restaurant Week.
It's a perfect time to get customers to come in, to actually see your space, frequent it, and actually introduce them to what you're doing.
You get kind of a new clientele sometimes that comes in and out the door. It's the people that like to try some new and different things. So things that maybe normally wouldn't sell might move that week, and it's fun when a chef gets to be able to play a little bit more.
I hope somebody will say, geez, I want everything on that menu. Good, come on back. It'll be here.
Coming up, we'll head to the Howard Community College kitchen with Chef Dan Wecker, owner of Elkridge Furnace Inn. You're watching Table to Table.
Learning at home. Learning in the classroom. Learning for success. For learning that works for you, choose Howard Community College. To find courses and programs that fit your schedule and learning style, visit hcclearningworks.com. You can get there from here.
Welcome back to Table to Table. I'm Vinny Reggae, chair of the Center for Hospitality and Culinary Studies at Howard Community College. We are now joined by Chef Dan Wecker, owner of the Elkridge Furnace Inn, and also HCC culinary student Ryan Caffin. Welcome, Chef. So what are we going to be making today?
I'm going to do a spring risotto. I have we call it a yard-to-table restaurant. We grow a lot of things right on site. And so we're going to do a spring vegetable risotto, and then I'm going to do a North African style rack of lamb, and do a little couscous with that, something that can be done that goes very nicely for the summertime.
Sure. Tell me about this farm-to-table concept. What exactly is it?
Well, it's very trendy now, but I've been doing it for 25 years, so maybe I was ahead of the curve. But we grow as much as we can at the restaurant. I have a lot of property, so I'm able to do that. I have 2 large gardens. I have a 50-foot greenhouse, and so I picked produce every single day of the year this year, even with the snows and everything like that. And for us, as much as we can every day, we go outside to the gardens and pick what is there and what's at its peak, and then we'll put together some of our specials and some of the things we put on the menu. In fact, our menu planning, we start with things that we've already planted, knowing they're going to be ready in 3 months or whatever.
Now tell us about your background, like how you got started in the culinary field. What sort of like triggered you to pursue this passion of yours?
Well, I was an exchange student. I lived in Australia, and I did a little bit of cooking there. I'd already graduated from high school, so I didn't have to go to school too much, and that piqued my interest a little bit. When I came back, I had some friends working in a French restaurant, and they encouraged me to work there as a busboy and a dishwasher. My wife is convinced I was such a lousy dishwasher, they had to move me somewhere, and they moved me into the kitchen. And I apprenticed for 4.5 years under Michel Bopin from Grenoble, and I had some gifts in that, I have continued to learn and to teach at the same time ever since. That was 1976.
Well, I've been to your restaurant on many occasions and I've enjoyed every bit of it, but I really look forward to tasting what you're going to be cooking today.
Thank you. All right, we're going to do a little spring vegetable risotto. We're going to start with a little bit of shallot, and we're just going to dice that up. And we're going to toast our risotto. And at my restaurant, we try to compost things, but we also try to make a point of utilizing good kitchen scraps to make our stocks. So I'm going to save some of my scraps from this so that I can do a little vegetable stock. Put these in a saute pan. We're going to start with a little olive oil. And I've got about 3/4 cup of arborio rice. We're going to let the risotto toast a little bit. I have some water boiling over there, and we're always going to add our stock a little at a time, not all at once. We want our risotto to get creamy. A couple of vegetables that I picked in the garden. So these are baby carrots that we grow. We grow 5 different kinds of carrots. Carrots are not naturally orange. Carrots are naturally yellow and red. And Louis XIV was introduced to some carrots from Belgium that were orange, and he decided that he liked that color best, and so everybody began to hybridize carrots into the orange color that we all know and love. All right, this has enough toast on it now. Now I'm going to add a little bit of vegetable stock. When I make a vegetable stock, I like to use carrot, onion, celery leeks. And I like to use a little bit of sweet pepper. And I like to use a little bit of golden beet to give it a nice amber color. I'm going to put a little bit of fresh thyme in our risotto. Take a few baby turnips. Baby turnips are sweet like candy. And these veg, I'm going to drop into our water over here and give them a quick blanch. And add a little more stock. And then we are going to be adding in some beets, which I roasted. And then sometimes you'll see a photo in a magazine of fresh peas and they leave the stems on. It looks really nice for the photo, but they're tough and chewy. So always remember to take your stems off your peas. You only have to take the stem end, not the blossom end. Blossom is down here, that's tender, but the stem end is not. These are actually cipollini onions that I'm growing. We're going to take a little of this and we're going to fold this in just at the very end with our risotto. We're going to keep adding vegetable stock until our rice gets creamy. And we do want it to have a little character. So a little bit of a toastiness to the rice is very good. All right, Ryan is going to help. We're going to make a little pea puree to add to our risotto to give it a little bit of color and a little bit of extra texture. Now, if you don't mind, if you would take I want you to shave a little bit off for it to top, and then we're going to grate a little bit to go in the risotto. Do these for me. You can give a little bit of color on them. Caramelize the turnips a little bit and the carrots. Okay, so far we haven't used any salt and pepper. We're just going to use just a little bit. Okay? One of the reasons we're only going to use a little bit is we're going to be adding the pecorino romano to the risotto, and the pecorino romano is rubbed with salt almost every day of its life. Add some pea puree. Good. We're just going to set these off to the side for a second. And our snow peas we want just barely to warm up. We'll toss them just when our risotto is finished. We're going to add our pecorino romano. And turn my heat way down. So we'll distribute our spring vegetables around on each of the plates. And then we are going to take a little of our shaved cheese. And then we are going to take some pea tendrils, some pea flowers. There you go. We are going to do a North African style lamb dish now with couscous and garniture of vegetables. We'll roast a few spring vegetables to serve with it, and finish with a little bit of wilted greens, some arugula from the garden, give a little bit of pepper. And I was delighted to find out a couple minutes ago that Ryan is originally from Tunisia, and I have marvelous memories of time in Tunisia and cooking in Tunisia and learning from our friend. We are actually now we are considered family. Youssef's mom, and to work in her kitchen and to learn from her was a delight for me. So anyway, so we're going to do a lamb rack, and in my restaurant we only leave one bone on the rack, and the reason we do that is because we want to use the other bones to make our sauce. So I've roasted some small lamb bones. We're going to put it in with the vegetables we saved from our last batch, and I'm going to add a little bit of lamb stock to this, and we're just going to let this simmer on the stove while we're getting everything else ready. Ryan is going to help make the couscous, and so we're going to do a little vegetable garniture, and I'm going to get him started. When you cut a pepper, best way to do is put the top down, and we're going to cut it in faces. We're not going to need very much. Always cut your peppers from the inside out. We are going to season our lamb with a little bit of salt, white pepper, black pepper. I only put black pepper on red meat, and I am going to put some smoked paprika on here. In the summertime in Tunisia, they are going to make things a little less spicy, and they're going to use predominantly smoked paprika. In the wintertime, it'll be a little spicier to keep you warm, and they are going to use a few more aromatics. They're going to use some cinnamon, they're going to use some mace, nutmeg in their winter cooking more than in their summer cooking. Summer cooking is predominantly just a nice smoked paprika. When Ryan does the couscous, he is going to add in some Tunisian saffron, which is a whole flower saffron, a little bit different than Spanish saffron, certainly less expensive, but you do get a nice saffron flavor from it, and it is traditional to that culture, and that's what we're going to use. These are turnips that I picked in the garden this morning, and I'm going to use some baby carrots because our lamb isn't going to take too long. He's going to use a little lamb and a little vegetable. He's going to leave me a little lamb stock in case I make a quick sauce. I'm going to bring the stock to a boil, and we're going to add it into the couscous, which we're going to put in a pan, mix with a little olive oil and the vegetables. Okay, we have our sizzle pan on for our lamb. I'm using olive oil Olive oil is a major industry in Tunisia, and they have beautiful olive oil that many of us eat all the time. If you look at your olive oil, it's bottled in Italy, but a lot of it comes from Tunisia and Spain. We're going to roast these vegetables on the same sizzle plate as the lamb. Can pick up some of the flavor from the lamb fat. Here I'm going to make a little bit of chickpea batter. Got some chickpea flour, a little bit of veg stock, and an egg. We are going to take our onions and we're going to fry them. We take the broth from the bones, strain it through. And we're going to use just a little of the adobo, because the Tunisians like a little bit of spice. And we're going to add a little bit of tomato paste. All right, I have some fresh arugula from the garden. There you go.
This looks fabulous, Chef. I actually have some of the risotto that you made earlier. Before I dig into it, can you tell us what was your inspiration for today's meal?
Well, every day I try to work with fresh, local ingredients as best I can, and these are both an expression of things that I picked in the garden today, and I think also an expression of the season, spring and moving into summer. The grilled lamb, the chickpea fried onions, all these things are great to sit on the patio or whatever. Quite honestly, this is just as good at room temperature as it is hot.
And I understand this is a Tunisian specialty. Can we replace lamb with any other protein?
Sure, we could do chicken.
Okay.
We're not going to do pork in Tunisia.
Sure.
And actually, this would be very good with fish.
Okay.
Yeah, a nice firm fish would go beautifully with all the same things.
Sure.
And the sauce.
Well, thank you so much. This has been extremely informative and educational. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you for experiencing Restaurant Weeks with us. If you'd like to learn more about it, go to Howard County Tourism website at visithowardcounty.com. For Table to Table, I'm Vinny Reggae.